Hey Star Trek fans, Dan Gunther here. Welcome to my Disco Deep Dive, where I take a look at the Easter eggs, canon connections, and continuity bits for an episode of Star Trek Discovery. This episode is all for Season 3, Episode 6, Scavengers. Be warned for spoilers. I will get into plot details of the episode, and possibly Easter eggs that you might not want to be spoiled for if you haven't seen the episode yet, so watch with care. At the start of the episode, we are introduced to the upgrades given to the USS Discovery, now carrying the registry number of NCC 1031A. A lot of to-do has been made online as to whether or not the Discovery should have the -A in its registry, as in the past in Star Trek, we've only ever seen the letter added to the registry number when it is a brand new ship, not merely a refit. However, I believe Discovery's circumstances to be unique, as we do know that the ship is recorded as destroyed in the past, and Starfleet wishes to keep its origin a secret from the wider galaxy. Therefore, it makes sense to me that they would say this is a brand new ship commissioned just recently, rather than a refugee from 930 years in the past. The map of the Milky Way galaxy seen in last week's episode makes its appearance again here. There are a few new stars and locations shown. I'm only going to cover the ones not previously mentioned in last week's video. We can see the planet Minos Corva, which was the planet being fought over in the TNG two-parter Chain of Command between the Federation and the Cardassian Union. Starbase 47, as well as Starbase 21, two Federation starbases. Note that I've seen a lot of people online referring to Starbase 47 as Vanguard Station from the Star Trek Vanguard novel series. However, and spoiler alert for those novels, that starbase was destroyed and the number assigned to a different starbase altogether. Talos, the location of Talos 4, the planet featured in the TOS first pilot episode The Cage, and then followed up on in The Menagerie Parts 1 and 2, as well as the Discovery episode If Memory Serves. Halka, a planet visited by the Enterprise in the TOS episode Mirror Mirror. Benicia, site of a colony mentioned several times in Star Trek the original series. Beta Niobe, the site of a supernova as seen in the TOS episode All Our Yesterdays. Camus, around which orbits Camus 2, a planet the Enterprise visited in the final episode of the original series Turnabout Intruder. Planet Q, the site of another Federation colony as seen in the TOS episode The Conscience of the King. And Aldebaran, another planet with a Federation colony on it that has been mentioned many times over the course of Star Trek the original series, TNG, and Deep Space Nine. We've seen at least one Cardassian in a previous episode, but I did want to point them out in this episode as well. In the opening scene with the Conference of Captains, we see one captain, a Cardassian woman. We also see a Cardassian prisoner later in the episode. Captain Bandra's ship, the USS Le Guin, would seem to be a reference to the science fiction writer Ursula K. Le Guin, who passed away a couple of years ago. Great to see this reference to one of science fiction's greatest writers. We get a mention of the Bajoran exchange, as well as meeting a Bajoran prisoner later in the episode. Bajorans are natives of the planet Bajor, and featured most heavily in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where much of the action of that series took place. During Georgiou's flashback, she says the word son, which would appear to refer to a childhood friend. If you would like to learn more about this character, check out John Jackson Miller's novel Die Standing, which came out earlier this year. We see a starship graveyard at the planet Hunhao. There are several familiar types of starship at this location. The most numerous is the Hiawatha type ship, like the medical frigate as seen in the Season 2 Discovery episode Brother. Also visible are Hoover-class and Cardenas-class starships, as well as what might possibly be a Miranda-class. Michael Burnham makes reference to self-sealing stem bolts from the late 24th century. Self-sealing stem bolts were a sort of in-joke on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, frequently mentioned with little to no revelation as to what they're actually used for. Part of me likes to think that the self-sealing stem bolts that this facility has are part of the original consignment as sold by Nog and Jake in Season 1 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine under their fake corporation, the No-J Consortium. Among the salvage from the starships is a boomerang phaser, which is a Type 2 phaser as seen in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, and the TNG film era. Also salvaged are a number of insignia, including Klingon, a Voyager-era Starfleet badge, and Discovery-era Starfleet badges as well. Michael Burnham makes reference to melting down warp coils for cortinum, which was first established as a component of warp coils in the Voyager episode Investigations. We meet the character of Rin, an Andorian, played by Noah Averbach-Katz. Noah is the husband of Mary Wiseman, who of course plays Sylvia Tilly. Rin has had his antennae removed. We've seen this once before in Star Trek. The character of Shran had one of his antennas lopped off by Archer during a fight. In that episode, Shran says that it takes 6 months to grow them back. I can only assume that Rin's were taken off a little more violently and he was not given the medical care he required in order to regrow them, judging by the look of their condition in this episode. We get a glimpse of another map on the wall in this scene. There seems to be 4 main territorial zones outlined on the map. First, we see Ferengi territory. Then we see the territory of the Emerald Chain over here. This appears to say Cardassian zone, and while this one is a little harder to make out, to my eye, it looks as though it says Klingon zone, which is really fascinating because we have yet to see the Klingons in the 32nd century. Meanwhile, over on the right-hand side of the corridor, we see a schematic showing the USS Voyager, listed as Intrepid class, registry NCC 74656J. We saw the ship itself a couple of episodes ago. We also see a schematic of the USS Discovery, as well as the planet Argeth, the location that Discovery was supposed to have possibly jumped to in this episode. Well, there you have it, folks. Those were my Easter eggs and canon connections that I found in the episode Scavengers. Were there any that I missed? Please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I know I'm a little bit behind on getting these videos done, but rest assured I am working hard on getting caught up. My deep dive for Unification 3 will be coming soon, and then of course my review of the following episode, The Sanctuary, as well as the deep dive, as well as reviews for the 2 most recent episodes of The Mandalorian. Those are all coming soon, I promise you that. Thank you so much to the Patreon supporters for helping me out with this channel. I truly do appreciate it, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to everyone else for watching. And today I want to leave you with the thought that not everyone out there is going to agree with you. I think that the most important thing is to try and be kind, be understanding. Obviously, this doesn't apply to opinions or actions that harm other people, but with regards to things like whether or not you like Discovery or pineapple on pizza, let's try and be understanding of our fellow humans out there. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, as always, live long and prosper.